Welcome to the Truth Chronicles, where we dig deep into the stories behind some of the most fascinating figures in history. Today we turn the spotlight on a man who needs no introduction, yet whose influence on popular culture is so profound, it's impossible to overstate. We're talking about a man whose imagination has shaped the childhoods of millions, whose characters have become global icons, and whose legacy will forever echo in the annals of comic book history. Yes, we're talking about the one, the only Stan Lee. But before we delve into the captivating journey of this extraordinary man, let's take a step back. Let's travel back in time to a small apartment in Manhattan, where it all began. The birthplace of a legend. Stay tuned as we unravel the untold story of Stanley Martin Lieber, better known as Stan Lee, and the birth of the Marvel Universe. So, grab your popcorn, sit back, and prepare to be amazed, because this is a story like no other. Ever wondered how the Marvel Universe was born? It all started with a man named Stanley Martin Lieber, better known as Stan Lee. In the heart of the bustling city of New York, on the 28th day of December in the year 1922, Stanley Martin Lieber was born. He was the firstborn son to Celia and Jack Lieber, who welcomed him into their small Manhattan apartment, a humble abode that also housed his younger brother, Larry. His father, Jack, was a dress cutter by trade, while his mother, Celia, tended to their home. Stanley's childhood was one steeped in stories. From an early age, he was captivated by tales of every shape and form. He lost himself in storybooks and comic strips, each page a portal to a world far removed from his own. These narratives, spun from the threads of imagination and wonder, kindled a spark within him. Little did he know, this spark would one day ignite a storytelling revolution. His parents' influence was unmistakable in shaping the man he would become. His father, a craftsman in his own right, instilled in him a respect for hard work and the pursuit of excellence. His mother, a homemaker, nurtured his imagination and encouraged his love for stories. They were the unsung heroes behind the legend that was Stan Lee. Stan Lee's fascination with storytelling was not a fleeting childhood phase. It blossomed over time, growing stronger with each passing year. It was this unquenchable thirst for narrative that led him to his first job at Timely Comics, setting him on a path that would forever change the landscape of comic books. Life in that small Manhattan apartment was not extraordinary. The days were filled with simple pleasures and ordinary routines. But within the mind of Stanley Martin Lieber, a universe was stirring, a universe of superheroes and villains, epic battles and triumphant victories, heartbreak and hope. A universe that would captivate millions around the globe. Little did young Stanley know, he was on the path to become one of the most influential figures in comic book history. Stan Lee's journey into the world of comics began not at the drawing board, but at the coffee machine. So begins the tale of how a young Stanley Martin Lieber, or as we know him, Stan Lee, stepped into the world of comics. His initiation was far removed from the glamour of superhero capes and epic storylines. Instead, it was grounded in the humble setting of Timely Comics, a company founded by his cousin Martin Goodman. As a teenager, Lee's first job was far from the creative powerhouse he would eventually become. He was an assistant, performing menial tasks such as fetching coffee and cleaning the office. But even in this unassuming role, Lee was laying the groundwork for his future in the comic book industry. This early period of his career was more than just a stepping stone. It was a learning curve, where Lee absorbed the ins and outs of the comic book business. Surrounded by a world of creativity and imagination, it wasn't long before his own storytelling instincts began to stir, and stir they did. From these humble beginnings, Lee quickly worked his way up the ranks of Timely Comics. His talent for storytelling and his knack for creating compelling characters didn't go unnoticed. Before long, he found himself wearing the hat of an editor and writer for the company. In 1941, Lee penned his first comic book story, The Traitor, which appeared in Captain America Comics number 3. This was a pivotal moment, marking Lee's transition from a behind-the-scenes office boy to a storyteller in his own right. The Traitor may not have been a blockbuster hit, but it was a significant first step. It was a testament to Lee's grit, determination, and raw talent. More importantly, it was a glimpse into the creative genius that would soon revolutionize the world of comics. As Stan Lee brewed coffee and swept floors, he was unknowingly brewing a creative storm that would soon take the comic book industry by storm. Indeed, this early experience was the foundation for Lee's illustrious career in the comic book industry. The late 1950s marked a turning point for both Stan Lee and the comic book industry. As the decade drew to a close, a transformation was taking place, one that would forever change the face of comic books. Timely Comics, the company where Lee had cut his teeth, metamorphosed into Atlas Comics. It was a new era, and Stan Lee, ever the visionary, was at the forefront. Lee's creative genius wasn't limited to writing stories of romance, horror, and science fiction. He had a knack for superheroes too, and in the early 1960s he was asked to put this talent to good use. DC Comics' Justice League was enjoying immense popularity, and Lee was tasked with creating a superhero team that could compete with them. Enter the Fantastic Four. In collaboration with artist Jack Kirby, Lee brought to life a quartet of superheroes unlike anything the world had seen before. Mr. Fantastic, the Invisible Woman, the Human Torch, and the Thing were not just superheroes. They were a family. They argued, they laughed, they cried, and they saved the world. Their debut in the Fantastic Four #1 marked the birth of the Marvel Universe. But this was just the beginning. Stan Lee was a man with a plan, and the Fantastic Four were only the first in a long line of iconic characters he would co-create. Spider-Man, the Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, Black Panther, Doctor Strange. These are just a few of the names that would come to define the Marvel Universe. Stan Lee's creations were not just characters, they were reflections of humanity itself. They had flaws and strengths, hopes and fears. They were relatable, and that made them loved. It was this emphasis on character development that set the Marvel Universe apart from its competitors. Lee's creation of the Fantastic Four was just the start of his contributions to the Marvel Universe. His vision, his creativity, and his passion for storytelling would continue to shape the world of comic books for decades to come. Stan Lee didn't create the Marvel Universe on his own. His collaborations with artists and writers played a crucial role in shaping this iconic world. In the bustling creative hub that was Marvel Comics, Stan Lee's partnerships were instrumental in crafting the unique Marvel Universe we know and love today. Let's delve into some of these remarkable collaborations that help to define the visual style, tone, and interconnectedness of the Marvel Universe. Firstly, there was Jack Kirby. The dynamic duo of Lee and Kirby was like a supernova, igniting the pages of Marvel Comics with their explosive creativity. Together, they created the Fantastic Four, essentially giving birth to the Marvel Universe. Kirby's bold, dynamic art style perfectly complemented Lee's larger-than-life storytelling, resulting in a unique comic book experience that was truly out of this world. Next up was Steve Ditko. Ditko's collaboration with Lee led to the creation of Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, among others. Ditko's distinctive artwork, combined with Lee's poignant narratives, created an engaging blend of fantasy and reality. This collaboration was vital in establishing the visual style and tone of the Marvel Universe. In addition to these artists, Lee worked closely with writers such as Roy Thomas and Jerry Conway. These collaborations were crucial in developing the complex interconnectedness between Marvel's characters and storylines. Thomas and Conway helped Lee to weave intricate webs of narrative that spanned multiple titles, creating a cohesive universe where every character and event was a part of a larger, ongoing story. Lee also worked with other notable figures like John Romita Sr., whose work on Spider-Man helped to define the character's iconic look, and Marv Wolfman, whose writing contributed significantly to the development of characters like Blade and Black Cat. Through these collaborations, Lee transformed Marvel Comics into an industry leader known for its character development, social commentary, and epic story arcs. Each partnership brought something unique to the table, resulting in a diverse and rich universe that continues to captivate audiences worldwide. These collaborations were not just about creating comic books, they were about creating a legacy that continues to shape the world of comics and pop culture, even today. Scene script. Stan Lee's impact on the comic book industry and popular culture is immeasurable. Stan Lee, a name synonymous with an era of comics that redefined the genre, has left an indelible mark on the canvas of popular culture. His legacy stirs in the hearts of millions who've found solace, courage, and inspiration in the characters he breathed life into. As the co-creator of iconic figures like Spider-Man, Iron Man, and the Black Panther, Lee's influence extends far beyond the confines of the comic book pages. Stan Lee's characters are not just heroes with superhuman abilities, they are compelling personalities, each with their own unique strengths, struggles, and story arcs. Lee's emphasis on character development was unprecedented, and it set Marvel Comics apart from the competition. In the world of Marvel, heroes were not flawless demigods, but relatable individuals grappling with their own personal challenges, making them all the more real to the readers. But Lee's genius didn't stop at character creation. He was a pioneer in using comics as a platform for social commentary. From addressing issues of discrimination and intolerance in the pages of X-Men, to promoting environmental consciousness through characters like the Hulk, Lee's work consistently reflected the zeitgeist of the time. His stories were not just tales of good versus evil, but thought-provoking narratives that challenged societal norms and sparked conversations. The characters co-created by Lee have withstood the test of time, their popularity enduring through decades. They've leapt from the comic book pages onto the big screen, becoming global cinematic phenomena and bringing Marvel into the mainstream. Whether it's the Avengers assembling to save the world or Spider-Man swinging through the streets of New York, these characters continue to captivate audiences worldwide. Stan Lee may be gone, but his legacy lives on in the Marvel universe, influencing generations of artists, writers, and fans around the world. His vision continues to shape the landscape of the comic book industry, and his characters continue to inspire, entertain, and challenge us. In the words of Lee himself, "Excelsior, what would the comic industry look like without the genius of Stan Lee? Hard to imagine, right?" Picture a world without the iconic characters we've come to cherish. A world devoid of the Marvel Universe's vibrant palette of personalities. It's almost unthinkable, isn't it? That's the magnitude of Stan Lee's influence on the comic industry. Born Stanley Martin Lieber on December 28, 1922, in Manhattan, New York City, Stan Lee's love for storytelling began at a young age. He was just 17 when he started his career at Timely Comics, the company that would later evolve into the world-renowned Marvel Comics. Stan Lee, with his extraordinary creativity and knack for storytelling, helped transform Timely Comics into Marvel Comics. He co-created a pantheon of iconic characters, each one unique, each one resonating with the readers in a different way. Stan Lee gave us Spider-Man, the teenage superhero struggling with everyday life while battling villains. He introduced us to the X-Men, a group of mutants advocating for acceptance and diversity. He created Iron Man, Thor, the Hulk, Black Widow, the Fantastic Four, Black Panther, Daredevil, Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, and Ant-Man. The list is as long as it is impressive. Each character he created was more than just a superhero. They were individuals with personal struggles, triumphs, and stories that mirrored our own. Stan Lee's characters were relatable, which made them all the more loved. They taught us about courage, about resilience, about the complexities of being human, and about the potential for heroism in each of us. Stan Lee's impact on the comic industry was profound. He revolutionized the way we perceive superheroes, adding depth and complexity to their characters. He humanized them, and in doing so, he reached out to millions of readers worldwide, giving them heroes they could identify with and aspire to be. Stan Lee's influence was just beginning to be felt as he revolutionized the comic industry. As we delve further into his life and legacy, we'll see how his imagination continued to shape not only comics but also other forms of media, leaving an indelible mark on popular culture. But Stan Lee's vision went beyond the comic book pages. He saw potential in a multitude of platforms, and with an insatiable drive, he set out to explore them. In the 1970s and 1980s, Lee took Marvel's beloved characters from the realm of ink and paper and introduced them to the dynamic world of animated television shows, live-action movies, and video games. As an executive producer, Lee was instrumental in the creation of animated television shows that brought Marvel's characters to life in a whole new way. The Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man, and the X-Men were no longer just characters in a comic book. They were moving, speaking, and living on screens in homes around the world. But he didn't stop at television. Lee saw the potential in the silver screen and played a crucial role in the production of live-action movies. Blockbuster franchises were born, and our favorite heroes like Spider-Man, the Incredible Hulk, and the X-Men were given a new dimension. These films weren't just successful, they were cultural phenomena, redefining the superhero genre and forever changing the landscape of cinema. Lee's influence didn't just extend to television and movies. He also ventured into the world of video games, bringing the action-packed adventures of Marvel's characters into the hands of gamers around the globe. These games allowed fans to step into the shoes of their favorite heroes, experiencing their powers and adventures firsthand. Perhaps one of the most endearing aspects of Lee's work in other media was his famous cameo appearances. Whether he was a hot dog vendor in X-Men or a FedEx driver in Captain America: Civil War, Lee's cameos were a beloved staple of Marvel movies, a small but memorable nod to the man behind the magic. Stan Lee was not just a comic book creator, he was a pop culture icon. His vision to expand into other media was a game changer, transforming the way we consume and interact with the superhero genre. His influence will continue to reverberate through the entertainment industry, a testament to his creativity, ambition, and love for storytelling. Even after leaving Marvel, Stan Lee's passion for storytelling remained undimmed. He continued to weave narratives that captured the imagination of audiences worldwide. One of his most notable endeavors was the launch of Stan Lee Media, an internet-based animation studio that further broadened the scope of his creative influence. Not one to be pigeonholed into a single medium, Lee also turned his hand to literature, publishing a series of novels, essays, and memoirs. His work across various platforms proved that his narrative prowess extended far beyond the world of comics. However, his later years weren't without their share of controversy. In 2017, Lee found himself embroiled in a legal battle against a former business partner. The charges were serious, including allegations of elder abuse and fraud. But in a surprising turn of events, Lee withdrew the lawsuit. He then went on to revise his will, designating his daughter, Joan Celia Lee, fondly known as JC, as his sole beneficiary. This decision, like much else in Lee's life, was testament to his unwavering love for his family. Yet despite these personal challenges, Lee's impact on the world of entertainment remained profound. He continued to create, to inspire, and to challenge the status quo. His later work, much like his earlier creations, reflected his keen understanding of the human condition and his unyielding belief in the power of storytelling. Stan Lee's later years were marked by both creativity and controversy, but through it all, he remained a figure of immense influence and respect. His legacy, shaped by a lifetime of artistic endeavor, continues to resonate within the entertainment industry and beyond. Even in his absence, his stories live on, captivating the hearts and minds of audiences around the world. Behind the scenes of his extraordinary career, Stan Lee led a private life filled with love and loss. A life filled with the same depth of character and emotion that he so masterfully wove into the fabric of his creations. Stan was not just a titan of the comic world, but also a loving husband and a devoted father. In 1947, Stan married the love of his life, Joan Bucock. Their marriage was a partnership that spanned over 7 decades, a testament to their enduring love. Together they brought 2 children into the world, Joan Celia Lee, affectionately known as JC, and Jan Lee. Their family life, away from the limelight, was a sanctuary for Stan, a place where he could be not just the maestro of Marvel, but simply a husband and a father. However, as in any great story, there was also tragedy. In 2017, Stan lost his beloved Joan. Their love story, which had unfolded over 70 years, came to a poignant end. Stan's loss was deeply felt, but the strength of character that he had always shown in his work, he now showed in his personal life. A little more than a year later, on November 12, 2018, Stan Lee passed away. At the age of 95, he left the world, leaving behind a legacy that had forever changed the face of entertainment. His passing was due to pneumonia and heart failure, marking the end of an era. Yet, even in his passing, Stan Lee remains an indomitable force. His influence on pop culture is immeasurable, his characters continue to inspire, and the stories he told continue to captivate audiences around the world. His life may have ended, but the world he created lives on. Stan Lee's passing marked the end of an era, but his legacy lives on. His life, both personal and professional, serves as a testament to his genius, his creativity, and his humanity. His story, like those of his characters, is one of triumph, love, loss, and enduring legacy. And like his most beloved creations, Stan Lee is immortalized not just in the pages of comic books, but in the hearts of millions around the world. Stan Lee was as colorful in his words as he was in his creations. His thoughts and ideas continue to resonate with us, offering a glimpse into the brilliant mind behind the Marvel Universe. Lee once shared his creative process saying, "I used to think what I did was very simple. But then I realized that what I did was not simple. It was just so natural." This spontaneous simplicity was the key to his creativity, and it shone through in the vibrant worlds and characters he brought to life. In the realm of diversity, Lee was a trailblazer. He once stated, "It wasn't anything conscious or deliberate. I just wanted to make sure that our readers saw themselves in our comics, no matter how different they were." This is a testament to his inclusive vision that has since become a cornerstone of the comic book industry. Lee's famous catchphrase, "Excelsior," is more than just a word, it's a reflection of his indomitable spirit. He explained, "That's something I used to say when I was a kid. Whenever we were playing hooky, instead of saying goodbye, I'd say Excelsior, because it sounded classier." Beyond his words, Lee's life was filled with fascinating trivia. Did you know he held the Guinness World Record for the most cameos in film and television, with over 40 appearances? Or that he was inducted into the Will Eisner Comic Book Hall of Fame in 1994. He also received a National Medal of Arts in 2008, a testament to his significant contributions to the art world. Lee's influence extended beyond Marvel. He wrote and edited for other publishers, including DC Comics, contributing to iconic titles like Batman and Superman. Stan Lee, a man of many words and countless creations, will forever be remembered as the superhero of the comic industry. Excelsior.